Hello guys and guys, and welcome back to another Tutorial Tuesday video here on Tuesday, of course. Today I'm going to show you how you can make your own Cinema 4D Minecraft character render to put in YouTube banners or YouTube thumbnails or pretty much anything you want. You can do wallpapers with it. Pretty much I'm going to show you how to make the character inside of Cinema 4D here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm not going to go over the basics of Cinema 4D because I know a lot of you guys do already know how to use it, and I don't want to have this video be all about how to use Cinema 4D. I'm going to start with the pre-knowledge that you actually know how to navigate around the software, and you know how to move around your view here and add items. But I'm just going to focus on the character part and the render settings and realistic lighting and shading and all that good stuff. So pretty much what you want to do is go ahead and use a rig. I have a rig that I bought, but any rig will do. This is a paid rig. Obviously it has perks and features that free rigs will not have, but it's up to you what you want to spend on the rig. I really recommend actually putting some money into a good rig because they can definitely make your life a whole bunch easier, especially if you do big projects with them. But if you just want to make thumbnails or banners or whatever and just go the route where you don't want to spend anything and just want to experiment around and make cool stuff, then go ahead and look up free Minecraft rigs for Cinema 4D. I'm sure you'll find a whole bunch, but right now for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using like Anishwij, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll put it on screen, but that is the rig that I am using. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in the faceless rig. And I don't have an updated version of Cinema 4D, so some features will not work, but for what we're using it for, it works fine. So I'm going to go ahead and center my camera view or my viewport view on my character here. Yet again, I'm going to assume that you know how to navigate around for this tutorial. And let's go ahead and add a nice little camera. And we're going to want to move it to our current position, and let's get it in a nice little position. So I'm going to put it on the left side of my thumbnail and or banner. So I'm going to position him a little bit to the left, maybe get the camera angle, have his body facing in. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just position him how I want him to be positioned. So I'm going to go ahead and move the face in a little bit, maybe tuck it in and do all that stuff. I'm not going to apply my skin because, you know, it's just a tutorial. I'm not going to waste time putting my character on it. It's just an example. I'm going to go ahead and grab my body element, and I'm going to go ahead and move that down and get a little nice bend in the knees. And I'm going to move this out, maybe like that, push it forward, and I'm going to have this kind of like reaching out-ish. Right about here, and that looks pretty good. I'm gonna get a little bit of a turning on the waist, sort of chest area here, and then I will go ahead and maneuver this bit around, kind of get like a little nice movement to it, and I'll move the hips. Looks very odd. Let's go ahead and do that right there, get a nice little tilt on it. And from here, I'm going to actually lower down his body just a little bit more. Get that going. And I'm going to spread the legs right here and move 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And there we go. We have a nice little pose for our character here. And we can go ahead and start working on the sort of lighting aspect of this tutorial. So for our lighting, what we're going to use is create. We're not going to do a physical sky. I mean, you can go with a physical sky, but for this tutorial, I don't want harsh shadows. I want soft shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and add a environment and just a regular sky. So that's going to go ahead and add our sky. We don't need to change anything in here, but we do want to add a nice little texture. So I'm going to go ahead and double click right here to create a texture. I'm going to double click on their texture to go ahead and open up the texture panel or the material panel. And let's call it sky. Texture. Alright, and we're going to get rid of specular. We're going to change our color to be a nice little gradient, and basically what the gradient is, we want a gradient of either a warm or a very cold sky depending on what you're going for. My thumbnail is going to be kind of in a warm, like, summer environment. Therefore, I'm going to make my gradient. I'm going to go ahead and click here to edit my gradient. I'm going to make my gradient start with a nice little kind of orangish yellow right here. And it's going to end off with kind of like a tan, right here. So that's going to give a warm feel. I might want to go a little bit more tan on this one. So that's going to give it sort of warmth. If you wanted to do a winter setting, you would basically what you would do is you change this to kind of a light blue and this one to a little slightly darker blue, and that would give the feeling of a sort of nice wintry environment. So that looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and go back here. Everything looks good here. Brightness 100%. Let's go ahead and close out of that. And we're going to go ahead and drop this texture onto our sky element, and you'll see that colors everything around it. So that's all great. We don't need to do anything else with the sky. So now we need to add some lighting. So in order to add light, we're going to go to infinite light here right now, and we're going to get out of our camera view by deselecting this. And we're basically going to find our light. It's right here. Let's move it somewhere visible. Since it is an infinite light, it doesn't matter where it is, it just matters about the rotation. I'm gonna go back to my camera view, and I'm gonna kind of rotate this around until I get the shadows that I want. So I want the kind of the left side to be a little bit more shadowed than everything else. And that looks about good. Right about there, we want those harsh shadows on one side, but it'll look a lot less shadowy when we actually render, so don't worry about that. So from right here, we can go to the light property, we can go to shadow, we're going to go to shadow maps soft, and we're going to make sure that ambient illumination, well actually, no, let's keep that off. Ambient illumination off. I'm going to go to shadow. We're going to go to, this is where you can add your own flare here. If you want hard edge shadows, you can select that here. Or if you want soft shadows, kind of blurred shadows, you can go ahead and click shadow map soft. So that's that. Density is going to change how thick your shadows are, how dark your shadows are. I'm going to go down to 29%. And that seems pretty good. You can actually fiddle around with these and change up the sample radius to get it more HD, and the shadow map, you can change this to be more HD as well. But for the purpose of this tutorial, thumbnails are pretty small, therefore you're not going to need crazy detail, because no one's going to be zooming in on that thumbnail. They're just going to see it, they're going to click on it, done, it served its purpose. So yeah, that looks good, and it looks like we're ready to move on to the render settings. So if we want to preview this right now, it's not going to look too great. Actually, it doesn't look great at all. But now what we have to do is we have to go to our render settings. So let's go up here, and let's go and enable anti-aliasing. Let's go to best, 4x4 and 8x8. You can go 2x2 and then 4x4 here, but I'm going to go 4x4 and 8x8. Let's go ahead and add a nice little effect. We're going to go to Ambient Occlusion. This all looks good. Use sky environment, check that. And let's go ahead and add a nice Global Illumination. So this is where you can be creative with your settings, and you can actually bump some of this up if you need be. All the default settings are actually pretty good. If you want to oversample a little bit to get more anti-aliasing on your shadows and all that stuff, you can go here to medium, and you can go ahead and play with these settings if you know what they do, but stock settings should be good on this. And what you actually want to do now is, this is personal preference, but if you want, you can go ahead and add a nice glow. And default settings are good. You might want to turn down intensity to 4%, and that will make sure it doesn't glow too much. Glow adds a nice warm feeling to the already warm sky that we have, but it is by no means necessary, so it's all personal preference. Next, you want to go to save. You want to check alpha channel and change your format to PNG right about here, and you want to go select a place for it to be saved. You want to go to output and current frame, and then change this to high res, which is 1920 by 1080. Let's go ahead and put that 1080 in. Alright, 1920 by 1080. You'll see it reframes our camera. We're gonna have to move that in just a sec. But over here you just want to make sure transparency is selected and refraction, shadows are selected. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and reposition our camera. And let's go ahead and pre-render. So it's going to calculate the shadows, which is something that is what we want, because we want that realistic soft shadowing. You'll notice that sky kind of has a really strong effect on the coloration of our character. Now that's probably, I mean, it's kind of what we want, but not really. It is very strong, and you'll see that his face is kind of in shadow. I think that is partially because of the way that my rig is. I don't think that shadow is actually meant to be casting that much of a darkness on his face. So let's go ahead and change those two things. We're gonna go to our settings here and go to Ambient Occlusion, and self-shadowing only should go ahead and fix the problem with the face. And to help out the weird coloration of the sky on the character, we basically turn off use sky environment. That basically just tinted the entire scene with the sky material. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off, and evaluate transparency. We should probably keep that on just to make sure that the sky doesn't get rendered instead of our transparent background, so we can actually use it in thumbnails and, you know, have our transparent background so we can put him on top of whatever else we want to add in our thumbnail. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and hit render and see if all those changes applied on our character, and let's take a look at the final result. Alright, so that is our rendered out, or pre-rendered out character with the HD settings and our glow already applied to it. So that's how it's gonna look. Pretty cool. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go into putting items into hands and all that stuff. Pretty much what you want to do is download off of like YouTube or wherever an item pack, Minecraft item asset pack. Pretty much you can just search on YouTube or Google Minecraft Cinema 4D items, and I'm pretty sure you can find just a nice little pack of items like this. I'm gonna go ahead and drop in something that I like. Let's go ahead and do a golden axe, because, you know, why not use that. I like the golden axes. So let's go ahead and drag that in here. Let's go ahead and go into our middle click our mouse to go into the 4 view, and let's go ahead and move this where it needs to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag that near to our character, and we're gonna go ahead and drag it forward to kind of where his hand would be. And let's go back, let's scale it up, and let's rotate it. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's get it into his hand, and there we go. We have him kind of looking at the axe, kind of contemplating it, even though he doesn't have any eyes. It's a little bit awkward, but there we go. That's that. We got an item in the hand. Now if you want to follow the hand, right now it doesn't follow the hand, you can pretty much just parent it to the hand controller. So I'm gonna go ahead and find the hand controller. It's his left hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and drag it onto the left arm controller, and I'm going to make it visible by making both these green so that it doesn't get hidden by the red tag right here. Otherwise it won't show up in your final render. So make sure that you have both these set to green so it actually does show up in your final render. So pretty much we're good to go. All of our settings are great and HD and all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the render button, and we'll check out our final result. Alright guys, so here we are with the final render of the character. It took quite a bit longer than the pre-render. Actually, it took almost 3 times as long. It took 3 minutes just for this one frame, but it is really HD, and we've got super sampling or oversampling, and we've got lots of anti-aliasing, so you can scale this thing up and down, and the pixels won't get all jittery, as I like to say. They will look jittery in here, but when you work with them in Photoshop, they will look nice and smooth from any scale. So that's that. That is your render. Now you'll find this file wherever you selected in your render settings to save it to. And if you didn't select the place, don't worry, you don't have to re-render or anything. Just right click here and go to save as, and then choose a place on your computer, save it, and you now have this picture on your hard drive to work with and put inside of an actual thumbnail in Photoshop or GIMP or Paint.net or whatever the heck you use. You can use this picture and put it in your thumbnail and maybe put some text right here and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that in this tutorial, but I have a tutorial coming very soon showing you guys how to put all these things I've been teaching you how to do together in a thumbnail. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to smack that like button and you know, share it with your dog, share it with your teacher, and share it with your los amigos a la escuela. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next Tutorial Tuesday episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave a like. Lets me know you care, and you know, it just shows me kind of if this was something you guys wanted to see, if it helped or not, or whatnot. And if this is the first time you're seeing one of my videos, I would appreciate it if you subscribed. It'll notify you whenever I put up a new video, so you'll never miss one. And yeah, that's my spiel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday back here for another tutorial. Take it easy. Peace out.